Hello, all the followers of Carlos Gonzalez Law. This is Carlos Gonzalez, your favorite criminal defense attorney. This has been one crazy week. So I've been wanting to do this all week, but I've been so busy with all the craziness that's going on. But I wanted to put something out for all my followers and listeners, clients, friends, fans, everybody out there. Just to kind of let them know what's been going on this week as far as the criminal courts are concerned, the DMV, the government in general, businesses, just, things that people have been asking me all week. So I figured maybe I should put it out on social media and on my websites and things like that so I can reach as many people as possible. So first of all, we know that our lives have changed, at least for the short term, due to the spread of the coronavirus. So for anyone who hasn't already heard, criminal court has been closed for the foreseeable future, but we do have some specific dates. As of this recording, felony courts, which is Florida state felony courts, which is anything over a year that you're looking at. If your case number starts with an F, that's a felony case. Those courts are closed and are looking to resume possibly the week of April 6th. But everything up until that point is canceled. So we'll give you further notice when we get further information on that. Misdemeanor court has been canceled for the week of March 23rd. Anything you had set that week has been canceled. And for the week of March 30th, anything you had set that week has been canceled. So any of you who had upcoming court dates for those 2 weeks in misdemeanor court, that means your case number starts with an M, with a B, or any criminal traffic, that has all been canceled. You can contact your lawyers for any further information on that if you have other lawyers that are not me. Now, as of yesterday, I'm recording this on Friday, but as of yesterday, Miami-Dade County issued an order that all businesses, pretty much all businesses, were to close, non-essential businesses. Law offices are allowed to be open, and there's a little bit of gray area here. We actually had a pretty good discussion in one of the attorney groups that I'm in the Florida Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. Some people think we can remain open. Some people think we can't. I can put a link to the actual order on social media. I'll put it up for everyone to read for themselves. But there is a paragraph that says people providing legal services or accounting services can remain open for anything that's mandatory by law. So, for example, if you contract me because you got arrested, yesterday or today, obviously one of the only things that's happening in criminal court are bond hearings. Because here in Florida, if you're arrested, you have the right to go before a judge within 48 hours. So that has to be done. So if you need to hire an attorney, that should be covered under mandatory by law, under that language. So that for sure, you can go meet your client. But I think we should all use a little common sense when reading the order, because the point of the order is it's trying to keep people from congregating in large groups, of 10 or more, pretty much. So law offices like mine, I have two offices. One office, we have much more than 10 people. The other office is a satellite office on Coral Way, which it's usually just me. So in my office in Coral Way, I feel fine meeting clients there. It's just me. It's just one client. I can kind of disinfect between clients, so that's not a problem. But the 7th Street office is closed until further notice. So all my clients who are used to going to the 7th Street office, that is going to be closed until further notice because we have way too many people in that office. So we can't have people there. But the Coral Way office will remain open by appointment only. So just give me a call or a text or an email, and I'll meet you there just one at a time. And then I'll spread out the appointments to give me time to disinfect in between. I do have Lysol disinfectant spray. I do have Clorox wipes, so I can kind of clean up between visits. I even have masks. So if people come by and you want to wear a mask, you can do that too. So I was able to stock up before everything got kind of crazy. Also, tickets, very important. Tickets have also been canceled for the next 2 weeks. So if any of you have tickets and you haven't set them for court, you can still bring them to me and I can still set them for court for you. I can still fight them, but they will not have a hearing for at least 2 weeks and they won't be processed by the clerk's office for a while. But if you had a hearing already set for this week, next week, or the week after, so that's this week, today's the 21st, so this week ending the 21st, the week starting the 23rd, and the week starting the 30th, all those court cases, traffic court has been canceled. So if you had a court date and you didn't go, or you're not going to have a suspended license. If you miss criminal court, you're not going to have a bench warrant. Your case is just reset. So all those cases will be reset. Also, there are rumors going around, this is unfortunate because it gets people's hopes up. There was a press release by Kathy Fernandez-Rundle, who's the state attorney here in Miami-Dade County, saying that they were going to make efforts to release nonviolent criminals from the jail to relieve the population in the jail, so to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. That hasn't worked out as we had hoped. Many of us had hoped it would really work out, but the reality is it has not worked out at all. The jail population has only gone down about 250 people. And most of us think that that's mainly due to a lot less arrests because the police officers have been asked not to make arrests and instead allow people to sign promises to appear so that they don't have to be processed through the jail. So we think that's really the reason why there's less people in the jail. They really haven't been very proactive about getting people out of custody that are in custody that wouldn't otherwise have gotten out. So a lot of people are calling. Sorry, I have the office phone here, so people are still calling. So we're still open for business, like I said. But I did have clients, for example, that were arrested last night. So we went to a bond hearing for them today. We're working on their case already. We also have cases in the Keys where I got hired this week. We're working on that case as well. Had a domestic violence case. That's one of the things that's happening the most this week. We're handling those as well. Because one of the only cases where you cannot sign a promise to appear is a domestic violence. So if you are arrested for domestic violence this week, which happens when people are kind of cooped up together for too long, kind of like when people get cabin fever during hurricane season, you're locked up together, we do see a rise in domestic violence cases. There's going to be a baby boom, I'm sure, in 9 months, but there's also going to be a few domestic violence arrests. So if you have one of those situations, give us a call. We can help you. Because while I said in general the courts are closed, they are open for bond hearings, for new arrests, and for emergency motions. So there are, judges on call, and they're taking turns, kind of which judge is going to do those type of things. I'm trying to think of what else I've gotten a lot of calls on. I'm getting calls on, what kind of businesses can and can't be open. Like I said, I'll try to include a copy of the order online. Also, your local news stations are great sources for the news, ablocal10.com, WSVN.com. All these local TV stations have websites that you can go to. They have, places you can follow online, and they'll tell you information. I'll try to give you as much information as I can myself, because I've been watching a lot of the news as well. But definitely keep yourself informed. Another thing that I've been hearing from people is, should I go to the hospital if I feel sick? Because I have clients who call me this week who have a cold and said, hey, can I avoid court because I have a cold? I don't want to get people sick. The reality is they're only testing people right now who have severe symptoms that go to the hospital, or if they're just online right now. There's only 2 testing sites as of the recording of this video, and there should be another one going up this weekend at Hard Rock Stadium. But they're only testing people who have symptoms. And I've seen lines, for example, at CB Smith Park, where they opened up the testing today. There were lines out to the street, and a lot of the people in line did not have symptoms. Don't go because you're not going to be tested, and you're taking up space from people who need to be tested. If you don't have symptoms, don't take up space. Wait. Just because you think you may have been exposed to it, they're not going to test you. Also, about going to the hospital. If you feel very sick, call your doctor first. Because some people, I've heard, doctors have told people different things, but the consistent thing that I've heard is, if it's severe, like a severe flu symptoms, especially things associated with cough or difficulty breathing and a fever, and it persists more than 2 days, they do want you to come to the hospital. They will test you there. You'll usually get your results in about 2 days. And if you're experiencing those conditions, you should be staying away from people anyway, because you're sick regardless, whether you have corona or not. You're just sick. Just stay away from people. But if you do wind up getting a positive for corona, try to tell everyone you've been in contact with about it, so they know to quarantine themselves, just to kind of stop the spread of the epidemic. Now, we've heard also one of the things that I think a lot of people are wondering, is this overblown? A lot of business owners I know that are clients of mine have called me kind of complaining. For example, my barber was telling me this is ridiculous. This is it's a conspiracy. It's the communists want to take over. And I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there, but the basic thing we all need to understand is we don't want what happened in Italy and what happened in China to happen here. You may have seen it online. There's a term called flattening the curve. If you remember from school, there's these things called bell curves. They come in, things go up, they come back down, and it kind of levels off. So that's a bell curve. So if you think about that curve, and you think about, the line, there's a line here, which is your horizontal axis on the graph. And this line up here is the capacity of our hospital systems to treat people. If the line comes in and it kind of goes up, and it spikes over the ability, let's say, our hospital beds or how many respirators we have, as you cross that line, that's when people die in this area, because you're overloading the capacity of the medical system. So what we're trying to do is, as the cases rise, because the cases are going to rise, it's without a doubt. If you can rise but flatten that curve, so it's not going up exponentially like this, but it's going up like this, kind of getting close to that edge, but kind of leveling off, and then eventually coming back down. That way, less people die, because people can get the medical attention they need. The only negative about that is you are expanding, because as you go, through the vertical axis of the graph, you're expanding time. So that does elongate this. Is that causing hardship for people? Yes, it is. For example, I have a high school senior, and a lot of high school seniors are struggling because most of us can say, you know what, we'll have spring break next year. We'll have St. Patrick's Day next year. We'll have a birthday next year. But high school seniors, this is it. This is their high school graduation. This is their senior prom. This is, their 18th birthday. So it's tough for them because they don't really get a second chance to do this. We're gonna, as parents, I'm sure we'll band together and try to make it up for them this summer with some parties to make up for it. But for the greater good, we gotta kind of bite the bullet and just suffer for a little bit. But flattening that curve does extend things out, because I've heard people say, well, in China it was really bad for 60 to 90 days, so here it shouldn't go past 60 to 90 days. Well, it will if we flatten the curve. It will go out more than 60 to 90 days. I have a lot of clients that have called me because they've been furloughed from work or laid off from work. People who've been laid off means you're let go, like you're not coming back. The furloughed people are people who they're not working right now just because the businesses had to close, because the government agencies, be it the county, the city, or the state, has told them you must shut your doors. So it's not that the businesses don't want the clients anymore. Don't want the workers anymore or don't need them. It's just they can't open. So those are furloughed people. So we do know that Congress has already passed one act. If I'm not mistaken, they already passed a second act as well. I got to double check on that. But the second act, I saw the Senate version and I saw the House version, but I haven't seen the final version of it. But it did include $1,000 to $2,000 in April and in May for people who qualify. I believe the line was around $70,000 for people who are going to get that. If that's your annual income. If you're over that, what you can do is there are applications for federal and state loans. I've already downloaded the application for the federal loan and the state loan, so I should be getting that out this weekend. So if any of you are small business owners, I suggest you look into that as well. I can probably send you a link to those as well on my social media so you guys can have that. That's very important information. The federal loan is up to $2 million, and it's based on, what the income of your company is. I kind of looked over the application last night. It pretty much goes into your finances for about the last 3 years. They want to know what your cash flow is, what your income and outcome is, how you're going to pay it back eventually. The great thing about that one is that you don't have to make your first payment back on the loan for 1 year from the date you get your check. And it takes about 3 minutes, according to the application. It takes about, not 3 minutes, it takes about 3 weeks for them to give you a response. So I'll let you guys know how that goes if I qualify for that one. I don't know how much that's going to be. But it gives you a year before you make your first payment, and that one's at about 3.75% interest. Then here in Florida, we have another loan that's $50,000 right off the bat. You do have to pay back within the first year with interest free. And then if you go beyond the first year, it's at about a little over 12%. if you have to make payments outside of that first year, but that first year is interest free. So it's called a bridge loan. So that's kind of to bridge during this time, because here in America we have a law, or at least a legal theory, that says you can't take people's property without just compensation. So we have the right to property. We have the right to pursue happiness. If the government is taking that from us, they have to compensate us for it. So that's what the government's doing right now. We're not shutting down because everybody's sick, because there's a lot of people that are perfectly healthy, and there's a lot of people that would love to have their businesses open. But the government is shutting us down and is not letting us do business, is not letting us have our offices open. So they have to compensate us for that. And that's why they're setting up these programs. This is not socialism. This is not a handout. This is your money coming back to you because the government has shut you down. So just as if, someone that you sued did you some harm and they had to pay you back, the government's doing you harm, so they got to pay you back. So don't feel ashamed or embarrassed to get it, because that's your money. Get it back. So I'll keep you guys abreast on how that goes for me as well, because I'm applying for both, because they've pretty much closed me down. My courts are closed. My office, like I said, my satellite office is open. I'm still here ready to do business, but it obviously is going to slow things down. So if there's anything else you guys can think of that are questions that you guys may have about the system, about the government, about testing, about loans, about the government payouts that are coming, I can get more specific in videos in the future. But I just want to give kind of a broad overview of everything that's going on so far, all the different closures that might affect people. Oh, one of the closures that just happened yesterday, which a lot of people, I don't think I mentioned, the DMV is closed even. So if you have a DUI case especially, or you had any issues with your license that you're trying to fix, that's it. You can't fix it for now. The DMV is closed until further notice. So that includes the DMV and the Bureau of Administrative Reviews, which is where you get hardship licenses and deal with DUI suspensions. That's closed. So you can't deal with that for a few weeks. So, it's going to be difficult. It's not going to be easy, but we got to be here for each other. I'll be here for you guys. I brought the phones from my office. Those of you who know Madeline has a phone in her home. I have a phone in my home that when you dial the office number, 786-358-6888, it will ring at Madeline's house. It'll ring at my house. And I'll be here to help you guys out. I'm going to help you through this. We're going to get through this together. Thank you very much for your attention. And like I said, follow up with any questions you guys may have, and I'll be happy to answer. Thank you very much.